I would like to call to order this meeting of the Festus City Council. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Here.
Councilman Collier,
Here.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Here.
Councilman Weiner,
Here.
Councilman Dennis,
Here.
Councilman Benz,
Here.
Councilman Cook,
Here.
Councilman Tenen.
Here.
We do have a quorum. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Tonight's bills total $166,861.88.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Collier,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Motion passes. Remarks of visitors. Travis?
All right, Honorable Mayor and Council, I'd like to introduce our two newest full-time firefighters. We have Training Officer Shannon Peters, and we have Firefighter Engineer Kyra Gilkey.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Festus High School Senior Class Fireworks Display.
I don't know if anyone's here for that. They had a request in their packet. They do this annually. It is tomorrow night. They ran out of time, but the Board of Education has approved it for their commencement ceremony tomorrow evening.
And this is something that they do every year, so it's not a surprise.
I make the motion we allowed, sir.
Motion's been made,
Second.
Second.
seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. That request is approved. Moving right along to bids. Police Department.
Mayor, Council, what I'm looking for is your permission to sell some surplus property. We have a bunch of equipment stored in the old buildings, and a lot of it's from when we switched over to the new radio systems, going back to Nordic track bicycles and stuff that's just taking up a lot of space. I'd like to get your permission to put it on govdeals.com and sell it.
I'll make a motion to approve that unless anybody else has any comments.
This one here, no longer being.
It's outdated. They have an expiration date on them.
That was back to sale.
No, it's all right. Yeah, we launched it then.
Okay.
I'm glad he's here. Answer that question.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to allow the police department to sell surplus property. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Library. Request for repairs to the HVAC system.
Council, Mr. Mayor. Excuse me, the current HVAC system at the library is on its last legs. We have 2 units that need to be replaced sooner rather than later. Sheet Metal Contractors was out last week because we didn't have AC working with 2 of the units. It was very warm in there. They came in and gave a bid to repair those units in a total of about $9,000. So I'm here to ask for council to approve those repairs to the library HVAC system.
Greg, would that come out of building maintenance?
Yeah, we'll have to find some extra money to do that. Obviously, we aren't anticipating, I think we all know the state of the HVAC, but 2 of the several units that are on the roof up there decided to give us some trouble. We do have a existing maintenance contract with SMCI, so they did come in as requested and prepared this quote for us.
Is there,
Greg, is this the best or the only practical way to resolve this problem?
The practical thing, Brian, would be to tear all of them off the roof and start with a brand new fresh system. But in order for us to be able to get to the next fiscal year, when we can have that conversation, this is the best way to at least get them through this summer, when we can look at perhaps a different vendor, a different supplier. I think that would be something we would put out for obviously a bid, either for services or for the units themselves.
I would look forward to that. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? I'll entertain a motion to approve the request for repairs to the HVAC system of the library.
So move.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Collier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton, Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yep.
Motion passes. We can fix your AC out
Thank-
there.
Thank you. My staff and I appreciate being cool this summer.
Next thing we have on the agenda is the demolition of 411 South Mill.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. If everyone's familiar with this property, I would imagine it's been bad disrepair. It's been vacant for a lot of years. We finally followed all the correct procedures and are ready to get it demoed. We took in bids, received 4 bids, and I'm recommending the approval Exterior Solutions at $14,300.
Plus the 350 on the asbestos abatement.
Correct. You'll have to have test for asbestos as well as other hazardous materials. And $350 a square foot. That's standard.
What company was this again, Mark?
Exterior Solutions. That is a
Mark,
company too.
Mark, just one thing. So if they run into asbestos, what type of cost could we incur?
It's $3.50 a square foot. You're probably looking at around $1,500, $2,000 less.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
All of the city does pay for that outright, and then the entire cost goes as a tax lien against the property. So any future owner, developer would have to pay that off. So we'd get completely reimbursed for every bit of the fee.
Mr. Mayor, question real quick. This just popped in my head. Some cities will let their fire department train on vacant houses.
No, that's a liability issue. Given the condition of the structure. Yeah, I know some in the past you could smoke a building and allow the firefighters to run through them. This building is a serious hazard.
Is there any other discussion?
A lot of the local residents happy that I'm getting calls.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the bid of $14,300 by Exterior Creations, thank you.
So moved.
So, second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
yes,
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Collier,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Motion passes. Go ahead and demo that building.
Fantastic. Thank you all.
Tonight, we have Bill 4683, an ordinance on the agenda. Would the city clerk please read the bill?
Bill number 4683, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, amending the zoning map of said city as established by the planning and zoning ordinances of the City of Festus, Missouri, and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4683 is for the property at 1405 West Main. Staff report.
Yes, sir. This is the property 1405 West Main. They're looking to rezone it. It's currently zoned R1, single family residential. They're looking to put in a daycare, which is allowed in a B1 local business, and that's the zoning they're going for. It was unanimously approved by P&Z last Thursday.
Is there any discussion?
Chief Lewis, do you think it's time for that intersection there to be updated? I mean, would you recommend a three-way stop there? I mean, we got to do something to slow the traffic down, especially if it is a daycare.
That could be an option. We might have to remove the one, the intersection with Sunshine there. It's something worth looking into, I think. There's a lot of traffic there. Sometimes stop signs aren't good for traffic flow. Stop signs are actually bad for traffic flow. It can cause increased backups because people are stopping.
Right.
But it's something we need to look at, maybe have like, it's just, the whole intersection needs to be, been redone years ago.
Oh, I know, I've been with you a long time on this, and we all know that intersection there is a nightmare. I mean, even like you said, coming from Sunnyside, everywhere, it all needs. And
I mean, the biggest issue we have, obviously, is early in the morning.
yeah, in the afternoon.
School buses running, kids going to school, coming from school. Even if you redid that intersection and made it more traffic friendly, I don't know if that would solve the issue, because the backup you would be getting from the school
Right.
would back into that intersection. So this is something that needs to be done overall. I mean, the whole area needs to have traffic survey come in for the ease in and out, but I would be hesitant to say to redo that intersection, turn around and realize it's going to get backup flow, because it's now more efficient to get the traffic through, but it bottlenecks at the school. That makes sense.
What would be your suggestion?
Bobby, I think it would be fair to ask Chief Lewis about law enforcement.
Yeah,
Perhaps a traffic engineering
Well,
question would be best directed to a traffic engineer.
but he would have to, it would be good.
That's
Right.
what I think do that.
It would be good for his input as far as the traffic flow. I mean, the police have to, I mean, there's gotta be,
It's that intersection of West Main and Sunshine. That's the problem.
I know that's something that for years, every time we think we solve one problem in this town, then something else comes up and we gotta solve another problem.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
This isn't something to do piecemeal. This would be something probably East West Gateway and say, okay, we want to. I mean, this would be a big project. What would be the best way to get to the school from the highway and back up these, and so probably cause people to lose houses.
Yeah.
It was domain maybe to go through it, but that's something.
No, that's a nasty, that's a nasty word.
Let's do what Greg said. Let's
No.
do-
We don't
Well,
do-
Yeah, I understand. I mean, short term, I mean, at least if a three-way stop would help somewhat. I mean, in short term, till we figure out a bigger solution.
Creates its own problem.
I know it creates a problem, but at least
Well,
it stops a person from doing 50 miles an hour.
It's such a short span from the right off Collins to the left to go to the school. That's my concern. So not to make you a traffic engineer, but as a law enforcement officer who deals with traffic Monday through Friday in the mornings and the afternoons in that intersection and the number of accidents that are already there, do you see the influx of cars in and out of that location is going to make it worse for your people?
It's already bad. You can't think it makes that big of a difference. I think if you put stop signs up, you're just trading the problem from speeding to run stop signs.
Mhm.
The problem doesn't go away. The congestion's gonna be there. The congestion's already there. And I understand the people that live there don't want the extra traffic, and I see that. The roads were never made for that. Hopefully, with the extension of Main Street that's coming up in the next few years, we'll look at that problem of widening the street and taking some of that, to relieve some of that issue. But in my opinion, right now, stop sign at that intersection is not a good idea.
That means a lot.
Do we
Thank
know
you.
the number of open slots that would be at this daycare?
We anticipate 80 spots for
And what's the latest pickup time?
60.
Mayor, I have a question, sir. If the rezoning gets zoned, help me out here, please. Greg. Let's say 5 years from now, the business sells, closed doors. We just rezone that parcel. Now that opens a door up for other businesses to come in that zoning corridor. Is that not correct?
Correct.
So we need to be cautious, in my opinion, of looking at one business
Sure.
going in. We need to look at the whole
Yeah.
picture.
I think that's
Fair
always
statement?
important when we talk about zoning,
Okay,
that there's obviously the application as it's presented here. But there is all the uses that are allowed within a B1 zone. At the same time, I will say that those uses are very similar. I mean, there's B1 across the street. So you're typically talking medical offices. They're not high density uses, where you would get, say, in a B2, 3, or 4. So that the density of the use is at the lowest on the commercial scale, but you would have all those types of uses. Essentially, is what you're considering here this evening, is not just a daycare, but yeah, what would that property be used for eternity, and unless it was rezoned again?
thank you, sir.
Is there any other discussion? If not,
I'm sorry, Mayor. Excuse me, Mayor. I'm sorry. I couldn't unmute myself.
okay,
So yeah, I live in that area, and I share in the concerns of the amount of traffic that is there. And other than speeding, I mean, there are problems with just the amount of traffic there. When you come off Collins, you're headed north, and if you want to either turn left or right, east or west on that road, with traffic coming, on Main Street there from different directions. I mean, it is cumbersome, to say the least, at times. And I, frankly, without some sort of traffic study or some traffic mitigation to make that area safer, I personally don't feel that it would be right to have a daycare there because of the safety concerns. And that would be my main obstacle to voting for this. If it were in a different location, I would be more than happy for that to happen. But I just don't personally feel that this would be a good fit. I'd love to have another daycare in town, but I just don't think that this is the right place for one to be. Thank you, sir.
all right, thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor, as I read correctly and heard correctly, planning and zoning approved it unanimously.
That is correct.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4683 for the second time in title only? Motion's
moved.
been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Carry it over to the June meeting.
This bill will be carried over to
June 10th.
the June 10th meeting. I'm sorry, June 13th. Okay, we have Bill 4684 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read Bill 4684 for the first time?
Bill number 4684, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, amending the zoning map of said city as established by the planning and zoning ordinances of the City of Festus, Missouri, and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4684 is now open for discussion. Can I have a staff report?
Yes, sir. This is a property in corner 61, 67 and Veterans Boulevard. 701 Truman is just an address we developed, so we have something to call the property by. They're wanting to rezone this. It's currently B2 community retail, and they're wanting to rezone it R4 for multiple family dwellings. They have a proposed 240 unit apartment complex for the property. This also was unanimously recommended for approval from P and Z.
All righty. Sir,
More appropriately at this time now. Thank you, council members and Mr. Mayor. As I stated earlier, Christopher Johnson, I represent the developer Lorenzo LLC on this property. It was approved unanimously at planning and zoning, so I'm not going to echo a whole lot of that. I am here to answer any questions, but I do want to point out that this is a very unique opportunity, I feel like, for the city of Festus to provide luxury, high-end, upper scale apartment complexes in this area. At planning and zoning, I'm happy to discuss some of the questions that were presented at planning and zoning, most of which revolved around safety, and others were regarding traffic. So we did have our traffic engineer do just a preliminary analysis, as Councilman Camp, you pointed out in the previous.
city administrator.
I'm sorry, city administrator Camp.
Nobody
You don't want
vote
that
for
on
me.
you, do you?
So-
Yeah, so Mr. Camp, you pointed out the high density commercial aspect, and currently this is zone B2. We're asking to go to R4, which our traffic analysis has yielded that it would actually be a lesser density traffic impact for 240 traffic units. And what they do is they analyze this during the peak times, the morning, the evening, kind of your rush hours. So things like fast food restaurants, which is currently could go in at that B2 rating, would generate more traffic. Office buildings, medical buildings, hotels, all of these things would generate more traffic by our studies than the condos that we have here, or the apartment units that we have here. I didn't want to point it at you. Okay. So you can, I don't know, there's supposedly a laser. I think you guys know generally where we're talking about here. The laser doesn't work. So we're down here. You can see there's some R4 at the interchange of, I believe it's 67 and is it or Highway A and 67 right there at the corner. There is currently an apartment complex that was rezoned. I don't know how recently that was done, but it was rezoned to R4, and that's the same proposal that we're asking the members here to consider tonight. So this is a rendition of what the after should look like, what we're proposing. It's going to be a 10 unit or 10 building apartment complex with 240 units, some of which are 2-bedroom, some of which are single bedroom units. The 2-bedroom is projected to be rented at $1,650.
Is everything coming in off the American Legion Drive, in and out? Is there anything on the outs that's getting to 67 or 8, any entrances or exits?
Currently, the traffic's going off of Veterans or
Off of it, off of Legion.
Legions
Legion,
after
okay.
off of American Legions. Yes, sir.
Greg, hasn't that been approved though on the highway? For
Tammy's property, adjacent to this, they do have an agreement with MoDOT, for the shifting of there's the center line cut there between the light at, Truman and A and the light at Pius Drive, that would align with, this was back when Judy Wagner was with MoDOT, would align with the entrance that, she's proposed for her property. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the renderings for this development also would have a stub that could connect to the adjacent property if they were able to work something out.
but that, I think that has been approved though, hasn't it?
The cut with the left-hand turn lanes on 61, 67 has been approved by MoDOT. It's just waiting for the development to get rolling before it would be shifted from its current location, which is more centered on the Fadler property. It would shift, if I'm not mistaken, Tammy, to the north, and would be closer to the entrance or the bottom corner of this property.
So if that was to be put in, would there be a stoplight put in there or would it just?
At
be a
this time, no, it would have left-hand turning movements, but there would not be a stoplight there at this time.
Because there's no cut in the highway right there.
The proposal is to put the cut there and allow left-hand turning movements. But there would be no light, at least under what MoDOT has discussed to date.
I guess.
If the mayor will permit it.
Yes, go ahead, Tammy.
But I have some information, full agreement with MoDOT, with the current interest in nuclear, right in the center of the property proposal and the property that we own. We are right now giving the right and left out, but if traffic increase and needed, that would be a full stoplight. That enough break from highway A to that stoplight to the south, which is saying Pius, Jim. And I have talked with Lloyd Joe, with the Bristol Center, and the Great Lane. Because he interested, maybe take the Coleman property, if possible, or maybe have some easement to put in so we can bring the light completely across. So we need the traffic from the Bristol Center, Highway A, in and out, north and south. If that stoplight comes all together, right now we have a turn lane proposed and approved by MoDOT, and then we have turn right and left out. So we will not have to light into the traffic inside and leaving. When we can come across, because right across the street is a city. So we deal with another district, how we can put them together.
All right. Thank you, Tammy. All right, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, and again, I mean, kind of dovetailing on that, the current zoning for this, which if a hotel were to come in here, you could not preclude it based on traffic or anything. And we've worked with MoDOT. We've got a good relationship with MoDOT. What MoDOT says they want and is going to be required as far as traffic goes, is MoDOT's going to get, and that's just the way that goes. This is an exterior shot. You can see of kind of the rendering. They're going to be 2-story buildings. I think I stated it earlier, but there's 10 total, not maximizing density in this space, not looking to put in 4-story units. Still maintain some of the beauty that you have here in Festus, which is you can see some green area around and have some natural barriers. There's a pool you can see in the bottom there. This facility is going to have a 24-hour workout center as well, which I think is unique. I don't know of any other complexes here in the area that has that. And some of the parking will also, it's not on these renderings, but we will have the option for some covered parking. Some tenants prefer it, some don't want to pay the extra price for it, but I think we're going to try to, typically we figured half of the parking spaces, which we double. So we have 480 parking spaces planned. We try to designate around half to maybe a third for covered parking at an additional monthly rate. is an image of the rendering of the pool. I want to get to, so this is I stated there's a 1-bedroom, which is about 900 square feet. And this is a rendering of what our 2-bedroom would look like. Modern finishes, upgraded open floor plans, which is what everybody's looking for these days. Those are going to be 1,100 square feet. You can see if you took the ceiling off on this image, you can see what this is going to look like. You got a balcony. And then I wanted to talk about this because security was brought up at the planning and zoning also. So we have found that what we've been installing is essentially ring door cameras, higher tech, but the same concept on each one of these buildings. So you have to have a key fob as a unit lessor to enter your building. Each building has its own key fob, so you can't go in and out different buildings. If you are a tenant of building 1, you have a key fob for building 1. On that key fob scanner is a facial unit like the Ring doorbell. So if you have visitors or somebody comes over, they can't get in, you can buzz them in. You push the visitor and it shows the face inside the unit. It shows the face of the individual who's asking to come in. You can verify it, DoorDash, things like that. But that's a security element that we pride ourselves with. And we've been doing it on all of the apartments because it does provide for safety for our tenants. And we've noticed that a lot of times you get retirees, divorcees, people, smaller family homes that are coming in here, and a security feature is, especially today, is very key. We also have cameras in the breezeways of each of the buildings that are monitored, accessed remotely, constantly monitored 24 hours a day. There's cameras projected at each of the entrances and exits for each of the buildings, and any issue that's pinged or flagged, get immediate notification. We can address it. We can contact the police department and get on that. Security is very important for our tenants. And happy to address any other questions. Again, I think most of the questions are stemming regarding traffic and potentially security.
I have one that actually relates back to security. Given the size of this complex and the number of people potentially living there, I know you have the cameras. Will there be on-site property management? Will you have a resident property management person that's in one of these apartments?
So that decision or determination hasn't been made yet. That's something that tends to come further down. We do have some complexes where we have somebody there 24 hours. We always have during working hours, property management, and the property managers, like I said, they have access to those cameras. That it's all done digitally. It's all done remotely. So if there's an issue, if there's a notification, a flag, anything, they get an instant feedback notification and can be there within minutes to address it, to notify the police department. Because property managers, they still, at the end of the day, they're going to do the same thing. Contact the police.
Speaking of that, police and fire, thoughts?
Do you have like a master fob that you can hand out to us?
Oh, for emergency purposes? Yeah, yes. To access the buildings? Yes.
Two questions for you. This is a local contractor, correct me if I'm wrong. Same gentleman's doing projects up on Vogel and on Turtle Creek.
Correct.
Okay, so very familiar with him, does a great job. Second question is, Mark, we have a room full of people and nobody spoke. Any complaints, anybody against this in the P and Z hearing? Did anybody speak up? No calls, Greg, nothing.
I talked to Tammy earlier today. That's about the only conversation other than with council that I've had regarding the property.
Because I can see it come. I mean, that parcel's been sitting empty forever.
Right.
And we know retail is not what it used to be. Looks great. I mean, I'm trying to think the drawbacks if nobody spoke up against it, none of our citizens. So, and as far as a land disturbance permit, they'll put an escrow down, won't they, Mark?
Sure.
So that's a viability question right there. So the project gets stopped. We have an escrow that could be forfeiture, they'd have to, but it's a local developer. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I will say to that also, that I think that development is moving towards kind of this mixed use. And I think this is a prime opportunity here in this area to have some of that built-in mixed use. You got commercial. I think the Festus Business Center is less than a mile up the road, and you have the ability to put those bodies, those live people that you need to fund a city right there within the business district where they can shop, where they can work, where they can do all of that.
Could you repeat what the rents were gonna be?
So the rent on the 2-bedroom, obviously, with today's fluctuating economy, you don't know precisely. It could go up certainly, but we're 1,650 for the 2-bedroom, and the rent on the single bedroom is $1,300 a month. And then I think it's anywhere from 40 to 50 additional dollars if you want a covered space.
Wrong business, aren't you, Jim?
I'm kind of like Mike. I mean, it's you look at Gravelwood Bluffs, and it's a combination of everything up there, and I don't know, I think it would be good for the city of Festus myself.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4684 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Madam Clerk, would you please read? Oh, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries.
Bill number 4684, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Festus, Missouri, amending the zoning map of said city as established by the planning and zoning ordinances of the city of Festus, Missouri, and establishing an effective date. Councilman Tennant,
Yes.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Collier,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes. Motion carries. Bill 4684 has passed.
Thank you again.
Right ground, yes.
Mark first.
Thank you all.
And tonight we have Bill 4685 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read the bill for the first time in title only?
Bill number 4685, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Festus, Missouri, approving the final plat of Twin Valley subdivision phase 2 and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4685 is open for discussion. Staff report.
Good evening again. This is the Twin Valley subdivision, the 800-900 block, 4-Iron Road on the inside corner there. He did this in 2 phases. The first phase is complete. The homes are up for sale. Second phase, he's got all the infrastructure in. It's passed Met City code. And he's ready to get started on that phase.
Is there any discussion?
I'll add, this was also recommended for approval from P and Z.
How many more homes, Mark?
This is 6 more.
6 more with the cul-de-sac?
No, sir, they exit on and off to Horine Road.
Big page one. So that'll make 14 homes there?
No, sir, 8 total.
Okay.
8 total homes.
Okay.
He's got the 2 on the north end that are complete. Then there'll be 6, 1 on the corner, and 5 more coming down. I believe the plat's up there. The plat. The plat is in your packet.
Mark, if I'm not mistaken, that's the one that solved a stormwater issue for us when we had just ponding water right there, didn't we? Constantly.
I'm sorry.
That's a correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we had a issue there with ponding water constantly in them lots? That's the one that,
There's a
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
neighbor has complained about
Yeah.
ponding on the lot, so this would solve
Yeah.
the concern.
Absolutely. It's got the full detention basin, stormwater control. Approved as well.
See, it's just the monitors.
Motion for a new IT guy. No.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Is there any other discussion on this bill? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4685 for the second time in title only.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4685 for the second time?
Bill number 4685, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, approving the final plat of Twin Valley Subdivision Phase 2 and establishing an effective date. Councilman Collier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Tenon,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yep.
Bill 4685 has passed.
Thank you all.
We also have Bill 4686 on the agenda for tonight. Would the clerk please read Bill 4686 for the first time?
Bill number 4686, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, approving the conditional use permit for 1506 Parkway West, Festus, Missouri, and establishing an effective date.
Staff report and discussion.
Thank you. This is the former or currently Total Body Fitness. The owners or the proposed buyers are going to purchase it and they want to move Flipside Gymnastics Dance Studio into that building. It does require conditional use in that zoning for anything of that type use. So dance studios, what we've classified under, very similar uses. Again, recommended for approval from P and Z.
Mr. Mayor, question, sir. Mark,
Yes.
is that parking lot going to be redone? Because it's rough there at the entrance there by the gas station.
I don't know if the Terrys are here.
They are right behind you.
I would defer to them. They are definitely going to be making improvements to the.
Is that okay, Mr. Mayor?
What's that?
Is that okay, sir? If you speak?
Yes.
We are the far side, is the place where I'm definitely that we will be crack seal, we're probably going to be the post in the center of the entrance and everything to make it more accessible. I think we just did that, I'm assuming just for big trucks from circling out there and using the parking lot.
Okay, thanks. Because it looks pretty rough. And I just want to make sure.
We'll definitely do some patch repair.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4686 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded 2 or 3 times.
Okay, who made the original motion?
So moved.
Okay, and who made the second? Okay,
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4686 for the second time?
Bill number 4686, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, approving the conditional use permit for 1506 Parkway West, Festus, Missouri, and establishing an effective date. Councilman Tenon,
Yes.
Councilman Cook,
Yep.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Collier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Bill 4686 has passed.
Thank you for your all's time this evening.
Yeah. Moving right along, new business.
We have none?
Old business.
None.
Before we get into the mayor and city council reports. Chief Lewis has requested to speak to the council.
Thank you, Your Honor. 5 days is coming up. It'll be May the 28th, which most people doesn't amount to much, but to me, it's the 40th anniversary of myself putting a uniform on. Started as a reserve officer, worked about 6 months, went full-time in December. Never thinking that 40 years later, I'll be standing here in the same uniform talking to you. With that said, there's a few people I'd like to thank who helped me along my trip, which is Bill Pagano, Ron Skaggs, Conrad Aubuchon, Ron Roos, Glenn Boyer, Doc Coombs, Jim Smith, Paul Wilkie, Donna Smith, Jan Schrage, just to name a few. I'd like to throw in there several council members, several mayors, too numerous to list, but I couldn't have done it without it. Sometimes you have to know when it's time. I think I'm getting close to that. With that said, I don't want to drop a bomb on the city, but I'm going to retire on May the 1st, 2023, which is a little less than a year from now. With that said, it gives us a year to look around and see where we want to go with the department. I will tell you unequivocally, the department as we see it today is in the best shape it has ever been. There's also going to be talk about who's going to be the next chief, who you want to put into that position. My recommendation is to stay in-house. We have a qualified candidate, Captain Wendell. He can take this department places that I never could. Being a policeman's easy. Doing the job is easy. Dealing with personnel can be an issue. And the technology, I find myself sometimes sitting in my room thinking, what is going to happen next? The technology's got a little bit ahead of me. I still have a couple things on my bucket list that I'd like to do, mainly in the dispatching center. I've enjoyed my job here. City of Festus has been very good to me. It's been very good to the police department. This has been a decision I thought about for a long time. There's been a lot of people asking me, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You know, and I will tell you that it's been tough. I've had to really think about it. Thought with my wife and my family, we talked it over. The biggest decision was when I sat down and tried to figure out loggers. I don't know if anybody here has ever gone through loggers to try to figure out a retirement date. You would think the longer you stay, the bigger your retirement. That's not the case. It's a funny situation. So that played the biggest role. It's been an illustrious 40 years. I've had ups and downs. There's probably some people are going to be happy to see me go. Others, hopefully not. But my heart has always been with the Festus Police Department and the city of Festus. I've always taken a stance of 3 things to remember. Is it best for the city? Is it best for the department? And is it best for the officers? If you stay within that guidelines, you'll be successful in this job. If you start deviating from that and think, well, I'm going to help the officers as best I can, and realize it's not best for the city, that can come back to haunt you. I've been involved in a lot of big investigations. I've been able to travel the country. I've been to the FBI National Academy. I can't thank the city enough for putting the trust in me. And hopefully you will put trust into me again whenever I tell you that the department will be in good hands if you look at Captain Doug Wendell. Most people have to walk around with a notebook and write things down. Not him. He is my rock that I lean on, and I appreciate it. But again, this has been a job of mine from when I was in SEMO down there in school. I wanted to be a policeman. I came here at Festus. I don't know why Bill Pagano hired me. I was a young kid out of Southeast Missouri State, DeSoto, wanting a job. I was so excited to put the uniform on, and I realized that Festus was a home. Whether you realize it or not, the city always offered the best equipment, the best working arrangements, the best place to work in a police department was right here in Festus. And that's the toughest part about giving it up. But again, May the 1st, 2023, which is less than a year from now, will be my last day. Kind of bittersweet. I thank you.
Well, thank you, Chief. Councilman Boyer,
I'm back to follow. I have no.
Councilman Cook.
Yes, sir. Chief Lewis, congratulations. Retirement's a big thing, and I can always say as my tenure here on the council, you've done a great job with the city. Never saw us in the news, never saw us in the leader, and that's two huge pluses in today's police world. It really is. Greg, since school's getting out and it's popped in my head, if you can mark it for future discussions, just food for thought, I would really like for us to participate in the tax-free weekend when school fires back up. Especially with the inflation factor, if we can do anything at all to help citizens out, I would greatly appreciate discussion on that. And possibly at some point, look at our water and sewer bills and see if we need to suspend temporary shutoffs or anything for financial hardship, just something. I mean, just food for thought, guys. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Templeton.
Congratulations, Chief. Huge decision. You've got a year to maybe rethink that, but we'll let you retire if you really think you want to. Other than that, nothing else.
All righty, thank you. Councilman Vins.
Same on what Mike was saying, Chief. Congratulations, and you worked with you for a lot of years. I've known you for a lot of years, ever since the day I saw you as a little person, back in the day, coming up my street and stuff and everything. So you've been great friend, great chief. I mean, definitely will miss you when that time does come and everything. And Mike, I'm glad you brought that tax weekend up, because we talked about that before, about trying to get the city to that'd be a big improvement. I mean, one little bit of tax for one weekend is not going to break the city of Festus and Crystal. So I think it would be something that we could work together, because I know Crystal gets part of our Walmart stuff, but that would be one time.
It's based off of our rate, so, yeah.
Right. So I mean, that little bit's not gonna, it's only very little supplies. It brings a big picture in, people come here shopping, if we make it up and everything else, so. But other than that, that's it, sir.
Thank you very much, Councilman Tenen.
Tim, you're right, from CMO to police chief, that's a big step, and something to be very proud of. It's a long time ago, from the 80s to now, and that's unbelievable to me. Do what? Yeah, I don't know, I'm been there right with you. And then the other thing I have to say is it's a shame about the car show, because it looked like it would have been a big success. I think it was a okay success. But a lot of cars and a lot of rain. So other than that, that's all I have.
All righty. Councilman Dennis.
Chief, I hate to see you go. We started about the same time. You made 40 and I made 36, but hopefully we can start over and do a little shooting when you retire. So I'm going to miss you. You've done a good job. You've been a good chief. You're a good policeman. Nobody can take that away from you. So you are going to be missed. I have one other thing I want to throw towards Matt and the council. When people go to put sewers and things into our system, they close our streets. And do we have any say in how long? I'm sure that we're there inspecting things, but recently, I believe Horine was closed for almost a week. And shouldn't we have some say? I know with utility companies, they have to put it back a certain way, different things, but it just strikes me as odd. And I've seen it a couple times in our ward, where they've closed our entire street down. And it just seems a little bit odd that we don't have any say in that. Am I wrong? Or do we need to enact an ordinance to where we have some say in who closes our streets down and how long, when, where, and how? I've talked a little bit with Matt, and he might already be working on something. I don't know. But
we could do a street closing or street closure permit. Mark, is that something that we've talked about in the past? Do you know?
No, we never had. They had a the problem on Orion was so much going on in that little bit you make. That's why it took a long time.
Yeah, so there were extenuating circumstances, but that's something we can look into. We've started looking into it. My staff is frustrated by that and other utility companies getting on our roads and then not repairing them properly. So other communities in the St. Louis metropolitan area have similar ordinances. It's not going to be hard for us to find a couple samples to get to the city attorney, and we'll have
Yeah.
something in front of you guys in a month or so, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. I'd called Matt one day. I had got a council complaint, and he explained it pretty well to me. But I just think maybe that would put us a little more in control of our streets. Not that anything got out of hand, but I think it would be on our favor to get that squared away if we could. So, all right, thank you, sir. That's all I have.
All righty, thank you. Councilman Weiner?
Yeah, I'd like to voice my support, my admiration for Chief Lewis too. He's been a rock. He's been what has kept us steady and kept problems to a minimum. So congratulations, Chief. I hope to be following you soon with that retirement date also. Also nice to see that West Ridge Apartments coming in. I think it's going to be an asset for the community too. Look forward to some nice apartments that will be of a higher standard by a higher standard developer also. And that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Collier?
Yes, sir. I'd like to congratulate Chief Lewis on his retirement. Thank you for your many years of service. You're going to be sorely missed. And your recommendations will be highly considered. And other than that, I have nothing else. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Councilman Collier. And I might add, Chief, we've known each other for several years. Back when I was a junior police officer over in Crystal City, why, I worked at times with the chief. You were a corporal or a sergeant at that time. And he gave me some good advice. I knew he always had my back, even though it was, Festus and Crystal. But we always worked together. And you are going to be missed. And congratulations on 40 years. I don't know how you did it. Especially with those chief of police that you worked for. But I think the car show did turn out pretty well on Sunday. Councilman Cook received the little plaque that they gave us, and the company that put it on is wanting to come back and do it again next year, which would be just great. Things are going well. Is there anyone else have anything they want to say? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Can I have a second?
Second.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay, Stacy seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, this meeting of the Festus City Council is adjourned.